Hey guys, by Austin Ramos, and today the Miami Dolphins head to New Orleans to face the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football, 8:15 kickoff on ESPN. And this is a huge game for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, not as huge as probably the next two games would be, but this is still a huge game. Every game this season has been huge for the Miami Dolphins since they've gotten on their winning streak. Speaking of that winning streak, the reason I'm coming out with you this video so late is because I wanted to wait on the results of Sunday's games, and actually pretty beneficial to the Miami Dolphins. Now, as the standings go right now, if you look at the standings, this is how it goes. You have Kansas City at the number 1 seed, 11-4. You have the Tennessee Titans, 10-5, second seed. Cincinnati Bengals, 9-6, third seed. Buffalo Bills, 9-6, fourth seed. They are the division leaders for the AFC East, which is not necessarily favorable for the Dolphins, but it did help that they now have a tied record with the Patriots. But we'll talk more about that in a second. Fifth seed, Indianapolis Colts and New England Patriots, sixth seed, both 9-6. Indianapolis Colts have the head-to-head win against them. Then in the seventh seed, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are 8-7, but the Dolphins are 7-7. So if the Dolphins win tonight and improve to 8-7, then they jump up all the way from the 11th spot to the 7th spot, which is huge, just because they have the head-to-head win, which enforces a tiebreaker against the Baltimore Ravens. Following them is Los Angeles Chargers and Las Vegas Raiders, both 8-7. Pittsburgh Steelers, 7-1. And then the last two teams who are not eliminated following the Dolphins are the Cleveland Browns and Denver Broncos. Both are 7-8. Now, I think both of those teams are going to be out of the picture, and it's just going to leave the Dolphins up to their own destiny. The Raiders cannot continuously win, because if they do, it puts the Dolphins in a bad position, because they do have the head-to-head win against the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens. I'm surprised they're not up there. I guess some type of numbers. Either way, Dolphins get into the 7th seed right now if they win tonight. So that is good for the Dolphins, but hey, anything can happen. Now, we've been here for almost 2 minutes and still haven't really talked about the game at hand. So let's get into that. We have the Dolphins 7-7 going to the 7-7 New Orleans Saints, who haven't been really good at home. They've been 2-4 at home, but the Dolphins have been 2-4 away. So it's pretty much the same type of, stuff happening for both teams when one's away and one's home. Now, the ESPN matchup predictor it moved since I last looked at it, but Dolphins are at 37.1%, the Saints are at 62.6%, which is surprising to see with all this COVID stuff happening, especially with the Saints having to start out a rookie quarterback in Ian Book, which is one of my talking points in a bit. But let's talk about who's out for sure for the Dolphins and the Saints. Dolphins, Cheating Carter, tight end, he is out. Duke Riley, linebacker, he is out. Greg Mans, guard, and Solomon Kinley, guard, are out. Albert Wilson, wide receiver, is out. Now for the Saints, they have JT Gray, safety, out. Traquan Smith, wide receiver, questionable. Dante Harris, wide receiver, is out. Carl Granderson, defensive end, is out. And then Quan Alexander, linebacker, he's also out. Now, there's also more players listed, but just looking at the brief synopsis, you also have the two quarterbacks for the Saints. You have Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill out with COVID, and then you also have Jameis Winston out with ACL tear for the season. So this honestly should really be in the favor of the Miami Dolphins, but anything is possible, especially at the Superdome. I mean, the Saints love playing there. Even though their record is 2-4, you never know what could happen in the Superdome, especially with the Saints just finding any type of reason to just revive their game at hand, and the crowd really gets into it there. So it would be interesting to see what happens in this game. So speaking of that, here are the Dolphins' key to victory: make Ian Book uncomfortable, pressure him, confuse him, whatever it is, just make him uncomfortable. So that's the first key to victory. Second key, like last week I said, stay consistent, whatever it is. If you run the ball, stay consistent. If you pass the ball, stay consistent. The Dolphins ran the ball really well against the Jets. I'm not sure if this will work very well against this New Orleans Saints team, but whatever you stick to, do it well. And that being said, they have running the ball. If they start stopping the run, play action. If the Dolphins come out pass heavy, then pass it until they start making you a little bit uncomfortable. Run the ball. If they're playing so heavy against a certain scheme that the Dolphins are running, flip the script on them. Okay, and then third and last but not least, limit the mistakes. Little to no mistakes is the best possible outcome for the Miami Dolphins. Like I said, this Superdome, they can get really loud. Especially this team, for the New Orleans Saints, are fighting for a playoff spot too. So it's not like we're the only team that has something like worth fighting for. But in terms of that, just limit the mistakes because they can capitalize very well. The Saints are just right outside their playoff window as well. They're in the hunt. They're 7-7. Philadelphia Eagles are 8-7. If the Saints win, I think they get ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm pretty sure. So that'll be interesting to see. Nonetheless, Dolphins just need to win out this game. If the Dolphins were to lose any of these upcoming 3 games, this is the one to lose just because it's an NFC game. The next 2 are AFC games, which also helps so much more in tiebreakers. So, not saying that they should lose this game, but if there was one game to lose, it's this one. Every other game are must-win games. But if the Dolphins win out, they are 100% a shoo-in for the playoffs. So, let's just see what happens, and hopefully the Miami Dolphins can make this one of the best runs in football we've probably ever seen. A team starting off 1-7 and then not losing since. I think it's 6 straight wins now. Ending off the season with 9 straight wins heading into the playoffs. You must feel really good about yourself, but then you're also going to be coming into a tough spot, playing against possibly Tennessee. It just really depends on how the season unfolds. If the Patriots lose another game, it puts the Dolphins in a position to jump ahead of them in the standings. And then they'll be playing a team like the Cincinnati Bengals, which I would like more favorably. But the season's not over yet. Those standings are going to switch around. I mean, Kansas City hasn't even locked in the number 1 seed yet officially. So, just a lot of things to change around. So, hopefully, Dolphins end this game with a win. And I just want to make this video nice and quick. Post-game video should be uploaded right after the game. Depends on, what's happening. If the game is kind of really decided, I will try to make it as soon as possible, especially since it's a night game. But if not, then I'll have the video out as early as possible tomorrow morning. So thank you guys for watching, and let's go Fins, and see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.